Good evening. Welcome to the Laverne Board of Zoning Appeals, January 28, 2020, regular meeting, 5:30 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. We have a quorum tonight, barely, but we do have a quorum tonight. Did the members have a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes. Make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
They are approved as presented. We have three items of old business, and we have one item of new business. The first item of old business is to request administrative review, property located at 112 Hickory Street, R3 High Density Residential Zoning District. And Bo, may we have the report for that, please?
Thank you. This property is located on Hickory Street at 112 Hickory Street, and it is zoned R3, which is high-density residential. And apparently it's been zoned that for many years. And see, it's outlined in blue here on the image, and has an existing building on it, and as I understand, that building's used for storage and things of that sort. The shape of the lot is odd. We call this a flag lot. It has this long, narrow section here where the driveway is located, and then it opens up in the back to a wider area. So it looks like a flag, and that's why they're called flag lots in the planning world. So it is zoned R3, and all of the neighboring properties are as well. So this is it, 112. You can see this whole side of the street. Both sides of the street are zoned R3. And in this particular case, this lot is 9,900 square feet. And I started looking at this with one of our building inspectors when Mr. Hake first applied. And the lot is not 10,000 square feet, and that's the minimum lot size in the R3 district. So that presented an issue. And if you look in the zoning ordinance, and I have it in the report, 3.020 of the municipal zoning ordinance, any non-conforming lot of record that was existing at the time of passage of the zoning ordinance may be allowed to appear at the Board of Zoning Appeals to ask for permission to build or erect any structure so long as all new structures conform to the existing setbacks in their respective zoning districts. So at the last meeting in November and December was canceled. So going back 2 months, this applicant was asked to show a little bit more work, show the dimensions and whatnot. So they have provided a diagram, which is in your packets, and it shows in more detail what Mr. Hake would like to build. And there has been a sign posted now on the property for about 11 weeks, so it's been there a while. Here's some photos of the property. So that's a storage building. And you can see I guess this would be the back side away from Hickory Street. That building looks like a skidster out there. And then this would be the driveway. You're looking at Hickory Street. So this is the drive, and then there's Hickory Street right in there. And then this is from the road, looking the opposite direction up the driveway. So that completes the report. And I guess maybe the important thing to remember is that it is R3, and so it's residential, and it's zoned for a person to live there. So that's kind of the basic zoning for the area. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Is the owner here?
Yes, sir.
Would you take the podium, please?
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Michael Hake, 143 Hickory Street. I live on Laverne.
Okay.
And I own 112 Hickory also.
You heard the city's report. Do you have any comments to make reference to?
Yes, sir. I want to build a single-family dwelling there for myself personally. There's been some person that lives on 110 or 108 Hickory has been, Jerry Gans called me tonight and told me it's all over Facebook and some sort of site. I'm not into the internet and all that stuff, but that the person on 108 Hickory is stating that I want to build a rental there, which I don't. I just want to downsize. I want to build a single-family dwelling for myself there. I'm 100 square feet short of building. I built the house on 116 Hickory, which is right next door, okay, for Carla King, and she'll give me 100 square feet to get my 10,000 square feet to build. I'd have to have the property surveyed, and it would have to be deeded, and, go through all the proper, which would cost thousands of dollars, which I don't really want to, I don't have that money. So I'm hoping I can be short 100 square feet. So there's been rumors going around, I want to build a rental there, but I just want to let you know I never mentioned that, I never thought about that, I don't have any rentals, I don't want any. I've lived on Hickory Street for about 20 years. The house in front of my lot, which would be 110 Hickory, their lot size is 8,100 square feet. They were able to build, and it was R3 at the time, in '99 when they built. And the people living there didn't build it, but the person, they bought it. But they were allowed to build on 8,100 square feet. I've got 9,900 square feet. I've also renovated 101 Hickory Street. I've renovated 103 Hickory Street, which was a dilapidated house. It's like a brand-new house. I've renovated 105 Hickory Street, which is like a brand-new house again now. I moved in a house for Jerry Gans on 130 Hickory Street, completely renovated. It's like a brand-new house. I moved the house in on 126 Hickory Street for Carla King, which is like a brand-new. I bought that house across from Lowe's on Old Nashville Highway up there where they're excavating all that right now. Moved that house in over there. Renovated 152 Hickory Street. Renovated 147 Hickory Street. Renovated 142 Hickory Street, which was a burnt-down double wide for Gene Gans. Looks like a house now. It's done a lot of improvements on that road. I've got a petition here to everybody, most people that live on the road, people next to me on 116 Hickory Street, on Ridgemont, which is the next street up from Hickory, the person that lives right behind me, have all signed this, that are okay with it. Basically, I've improved the neighborhood just tremendously. I rebuilt the Civic Center. I did the girders and the flooring underneath the Civic Center when it was a Civic Center. I did the hockey rink. I did I dig all the asphalt out and put footers in there for the city of Laverne. I've built the Laverne Police Athletic League when it was up right off Old Nashville Highway, volunteer. Did all this volunteer. Just got done doing the Boys and Girls Club in Smyrna. Built their outdoor 42 by 52 foot basketball court, all volunteer. I donated $10,000 of my labor, my Bobcat work, everything over there. Helped out the Laverne Police just tremendously. My shop I buy Lowe's out. I get a lot of deals on things, and I help everybody out with that. I've helped just everybody on that road. You can call Jerry Gans. He's signed a petition here. I've got about 15, 16 people on this petition that live on the road that are all for it. I'm 100 square feet short, and I'm not going to exceed the square footage of building. I want to build 1,600 square feet. The building I have there now is 1,500 square feet. I can build up to 40% of the property, which I'd be way underneath that. I just want to improve the neighborhood, but I want to build this for myself, not for no rental. So if you hear that rumor for some reason, disregard it. I'm personally going to live there.
Okay, thank you. Any board members have any questions?
Couple of questions for the applicant.
Sir, would you remain, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
So you indicated on your drawing that you are going to tap into the city sewer and water line, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The planned two-story building, what material is it going to build out of?
The framing is going to be up to codes. It's going to be your basic conventional framing. I'm going to do a regular foundation and a footing. The footing will be minimum 12 inches deep, 12, I always overkill everything. So it'll have the rebarb in the footing, probably 4 runs of rebarb instead of 2 that's required. I always overkill it. And then your basic framing.
I was more, the aesthetics when it's finished, the colours and how's it going to match in, what type of, are you going to use brick, siding, what type of
It'll be
exterior?
siding. It'll be hardy plank siding on it.
Hardy plank siding?
Yes, sir.
And the roof, what type of roof will it be?
It'll be your regular architectural shingles.
On the breezeway, will that be covered?
Yes, sir.
So the breezeway will be covered too?
Yes, sir. It'll be a opposite gable going into the building. The building will be this way, and then I'll have another gable going into the building, and it'll be, basically just a breezeway in there.
Okay.
Because it's got to be attached. I've been told by codes.
The property presently has a lot of rubbish, trash around it. Do you
I've
tend to
cleaned
climb
it
some
up,
up?
sir. I've cleaned it up, and I've had Mr. Lawrence. He has completely. I've gone to court and it's been dismissed. Okay, the only trash that's really on the property now is what the person that lives on 108 keeps throwing over on the property line. And I've got it on film because I put up a security system over there, so I got him on film doing this. I've called the police. They've been out there, but he won't answer the door. So nothing's been. It hasn't been pursued.
Okay. Understand. I mean, is there any shrubbery or grass going to put? What else can you put down to make it?
Shrubbery, I'm gonna put on the property line. Okay, I wanna, as you come in, I can't coming in, because I got 90 foot coming in, and after that, I wanna put trees and, bushes and everything in the yard right there. And, I wanna make it look really nice, just like I have every house I've done on Hickory Street. Now, we renovated, Carla King and I, over 100 homes here in the city of Laverne in the last 17 years.
Awesome.
And we've really made major improvements, in the city of Laverne.
So looking at the sketch you supplied to us, just explain a little bit more about the beautification you're going to do to the lot. So you supplied the drawing, the flag lot. Could you just explain a little bit more on your beautification or your shrubbery and what we're going to do with it to make it look nice, to fit in with the rest of the
Well,
community?
everything you see that's in the yard, all that's gone.
Okay.
Okay, there's no rubble. There's a little bit now, but not, I got plywood there, which I want to use on this, okay, which
Okay.
it's been covered up, but, coming in from the entry, the right hand, that would be 190 feet there, where the property line is, I want to put bushes there and kind of just separate it,
Okay. And then further back into the lot, so you handled the flat or the pole piece of the flag, if it would that. Where else are you going to put some other shrubbery down?
Anywhere I
Grass down?
can. After I put the addition up or the structure up, I'm gonna plant all the way along the back fence line, which there's a lot of trees on the back fence line, a lot of trees on the other side, I wanna plant a lot. I like trees.
And the access way, you can do anything to blacktop that or make a dustless surface?
wanna pave it.
You're going to pave it?
But what I wanna do is, it's not required for me to survey it, but before I pave it or, cement it, I wanna get it surveyed so it's right to where it's supposed to be. Because I'm having a lot of problems with people in front of me, 108 and 110. People on 110, if you look at the building, their building right there in the corner, they're on the property line front and back. 108, they just moved the building in, 12 by 24, no permit, no nothing. Mr. Lawrence was gonna write him up, but I told him not to, because I don't
If you
wanna-
would, just concentrate on your lot. We don't understand the politics of either side, but my question was, explain more about the driveway and the beautification.
I want to plant a lot of bushes, trees, a lot of shrubbery. I want to make it look really nice. As far as the entry, I want to have that paved, but I want to have it surveyed before I do that. So it's on the lines.
Okay.
It's done
So
legally.
again, what you're indicating to us is, once it gets surveyed, you're going to put a concrete driveway from the road to the back of the lot, or where's it going to go to? Be more
Well,
specific, if you would, please.
at least the entry, at least to coming into my prod. Everything else is gravel, is crush and run there right now.
Okay.
Eventually, I'd like to do more.
Okay. And then the other three sides, so looking at that picture there, the top line, the left line, and the bottom line, what are you going to do else around there for beautification and making the property look nice?
Well, it'll be a nice level area. There'll be grass planted throughout and everything. I'm going to add some trees between the back property line and the new structure.
Okay.
Okay. I believe I got to add. I believe codes requires you add 2 trees no matter what when you build. We had to do that on 116 Hickory Street.
Okay.
I want to make it look good.
Okay. And my question for staff is, with the drawing that's presented, if the building is, we're treating the building that the side of the building, the front of the building faces the road, does he have enough room for the setbacks per our city requirements presently?
Are you asking me that?
No, I'm asking the staff.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
So it's showing that the two-story is 30 feet long, so we don't really have a dimension from the edge of the building to the back of the property line. Do we know that that exceeds the setback requirements?
He's got it listed in the lower right corner as 20 feet. Now, I can't give you that guarantee because he's gonna build a 30 foot from the existing building, 30 feet to the east or west rather. And if that's the case, I don't know that an additional 20, I don't know what that dimension there is.
What it would be is, I've got from the road to the existing building, my entry is 90 feet from Hickory to the lot. Then roughly 10, 11 feet, between 10 and 12 from the front to all the way down the property line is within, it's 10 to 12 feet. The building is 30 feet. Okay, so the addition would be, I'm gonna have a 10-foot breezeway. I'm gonna have the 20-foot setback from the back is 20 feet. I'll make sure that's 20 feet, because I could take that out of the 10-foot breezeway, okay, to make it right. As far as we're 10 feet on the other side there, and then the building is 50 feet. So the lot's 100 feet that way. So I'm 40 feet from the other property line, but the addition would be 60 feet from the neighbor's property line.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm trying to get at is that if you were to get approval
Yes, sir.
for what you requested, that you don't break any other rules of the city on setbacks.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to say is the minimum setback is 20 feet,
From the back.
for the back, for the
Yes, sir.
rear, okay? So we don't want you exceeding, we don't go in 18 or 15, we need to be 20 feet or
Yes, sir.
more. So, you know, if staff comes out and is 18 feet, you cannot come back to us wanting an extra 2 feet.
Yes, sir. I
We want you to
understand.
build within the envelope per the city requirements.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I'm
Understand.
not trying to overexceed any, I'm gonna make it right. Absolutely right.
Mr. Coach, that's typical with any permit that we issue. If it's in a case where we feel like there's going to be some setback issues, we go out and we take some measurements. If pins are there, you know, we can get a better idea that, you know, with his plan, with what he submits as far as his application. If we can't judge based on what we can see, if it's close, but not right on it, I mean, we don't play well, it maybe not. We'll ask for it to be surveyed. We'll ask for the pins of the building envelope to be indicated to us so that we can get some better measurements so that the building envelope the structure does not exceed that building envelope.
So
What I-
you understand?
Yes,
You've got to be
sir. What
surveyed.
I'll do is
You-
I'll break- what I'll do is-
You understand that you have to have the surveyed to meet the requirements. You understand that?
Do I have to have it surveyed?
That's what we're saying. The city's saying that you have to have it surveyed to ensure you're not affecting the 20-foot rear setback.
I was told I wouldn't have to have it surveyed.
It would be in your best interest to. Michael,
Right, but
because if we come out there to do our pre-inspection, if you will, before I sign that permit application, if either Daniel or Larry have any questions in their mind about whether or not those rear setbacks are going to be intact.
Well,
Once that, hear me out, once
sir.
that building is done, they will, they have instructions from me that if there's any question, to get the building envelope surveyed out so that there are no questions.
Yes, sir. What if,
And in this case, it would probably be to your best advantage to go ahead and get it surveyed, have those building envelopes pinned, marked, staked, so that when you do get ready to build, you know where you can and cannot.
well, I was,
Let me interrupt here just a minute. When we last met in November, I believe it was, one of the things that we asked for was a specific footprint with specific dimensions and measurements on it, which this does not have. And Mr. Logan, another thing is, this article is under a request for review. There's no action involved with that. So there's nothing to indicate what we're voting on here. It's an administrative review. So what are we voting on? What's the specific action?
You're voting on whether to allow this to become what it's already zoned to be, which is R3. And the only reason it's here is because he, according to his word, he's 100 square feet too short of 10,000. So I don't think that there's an issue with what we're voting on. You're voting on the fact that this is R3 and it does not meet the 10,000 square foot requirement. And in this section of the zoning, it clearly says anyone who has a lot that's not 10,000 square feet can come to this board and get an opinion. And that's what he's here for.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, we haven't come this far to turn around and say.
Well, yes, but
there's
see,
no way to vote.
but on the official notice here, it's asking for administrative review.
Yes, and because of the wording in the zoning ordinance, which says any person that's short may come and ask you all for an opinion. It probably could be listed 3 or 4 different ways on an agenda, and different cities would list it 3 or 4 different ways. I can say that.
Mr. Chairman.
As to his specific plan he submitted, because this is a Board of Zoning Appeals, this is not the Planning Commission, they don't have to submit engineered drawings. That's not what a BOZA.
Right.
BOZAs don't have, they have certain powers, and I'll let Mr. Cope get into that, but when we get to the point that we make every applicant of the BOZA submit exactly what an applicant of the Planning
Right.
Commission,
I understand.
we're in bad, we don't want to do that.
Well, what I'm trying to drive at, Mr. Chairman, is that if this were to go through, that he does not come back 2 months from now saying he's 2 feet short and wanting
Right.
a variance.
Right.
Because what I'm trying to drive at is, historically, if you've got a flat bit of ground and they meet the requirements, it's okay. But then if you knowingly build 2 feet or 3 feet out the envelope, you knowingly do it, then come back here, the vote has been no.
Right.
Then you have to tear the building down. So I'm just trying to redirect to him is that,
To avoid that,
avoid that.
right.
yes, sir, I'm not gonna over exceed the setbacks whatsoever.
No.
If I have to get it surveyed, if you all want me to spend that money and get it surveyed, and go with that, I'll do that. I don't wanna spend that money. I'm tight, I mean, but if I gotta do
Right.
that to make everybody happy, I will.
But you understand the reason why we're asking that
Yes,
is.
sir, I do.
You understand the reason?
So there's no cheating.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and I don't wanna build something and have to take it down. I'm not gonna do that. So,
Any more questions? You may be seated.
thank you, sir.
Okay. It was my understanding that there were some members of the community that wanted to be heard on this. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this? One at a time, would you step forward, please?
Hi, my name is Larry Stearns. I live at 108 Hickory Street. I do have several concerns. Number one, is he actually going to build this for himself when he has a house up the street, or is he going to use that for rental property? My next question is, if you look at that picture, I'm in the transportation business, and if you'll notice, right on the line right there, he's taken his Bobcat and pushed all this wood into my yard because he states that when I bought the property 5 years ago, that wood was on my property when I bought it. So he's taken and cleaned up some of this area and then pushed a bunch of wood and trash onto my property. So my concern is, what is he gonna do when he starts building this house? Is he really gonna plant the plants he says he's gonna plant? Is he gonna take care of this yard a little bit better than what he has? I've been to code several times. I fought him for a little over 2 years to get this area cleaned up. Like I said, I'm in the transportation business, he's in the construction business. What do I have or any concern with all that wood that's on my property now? So I don't want to rent a property next to my house. I already have enough of that. Most of my neighbors are rentals. On Hickory Street, there's only a few people that do own. So that petition that he had signed, is it all the rental property people? And the woman he works for is Carla King, which she owns, I think, 3 or maybe 4 houses on that road now. And the people who signed that petition are renters of hers, which he works for her. And like he said, he does do a lot of construction work, but look at it. I mean, it's a mess. You know, I've been fighting him for 2 years to get this cleaned up. He takes his Bobcat, and there was a picture, you seen the Bobcat sitting in front, pushes all this wood and stuff onto my property. And I just don't want a rental property in my backyard.
Okay.
If that, I mean, he's short, 100 feet. My concern is he gonna actually use it for his own domain, or is he gonna use it for rental property? Now, that's something that I need to be reassured that he don't turn around and do what he does and, you know, says things about all this stuff that I have no control over.
All right.
That is my main concern.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Just a moment. Is there someone else back there that had a hand up? Are you both together? Yes. One of you want to be the spokesperson? Okay, you're going to be the spokesperson?
Yes, but please
Would
bear
you,
with me.
would give your name and address for the record, please? And I forgot to mention for the other gentleman, you have a 3-minute limit.
Okay. My name is Heidi Morales.
Oh, go.
Into the
sorry.
microphone, please.
My name is Heidi Morales. Please bear with me. I'm a little shy
That's all right.
about speaking in front
Pull
of
the
people.
phone to you, microphone to you.
Okay. My husband and I live at 110 Hickory Street. My concern was that it was going to be a rental property built on that property, but now I have a new concern that, you know, my 2 neighbors obviously don't get along with each other. And that's a little concerning to me.
Okay, the 2 neighbors are what?
Mr. Heika and Mr. Stearns.
Okay.
So that, I think, would cause some problems if they were going to reside next to each other.
Okay, we hear you.
I know it doesn't probably have anything to do with any kind of laws or regulations or anything like that, but I just wanted to voice my concern about that. And I don't have anything else to say.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'll respond in part for this, is that the gentleman just spoke under oath, and he spoke that he was not going to build a rental, and so he's under oath, and that he stated that is for his own personal use. So he's obligated to that point, and that's what we're considering now. So that's where we are right now. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Yes, yes.
Where Larry lives on 110 Hickory Street, Carla King had rented out that house to him for almost 10 years. We sold it to him. We're very, very sorry we did, but we can't turn that around. They will foreclose on him because he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, and hopefully we'll get that house back. But he's rented from Carla, and
Okay, that has nothing to do with the
well,
the
he's
issue that
concerned
she-
about rentals, and he's rented and rented. She rented from Miss Treadway on Hickory Street before she bought this house.
Okay, we don't want to get into that issue though, sir.
Okay, I
Okay.
just, okay.
That is, as far as I'm concerned, the rental issue is over, because you said you're not going to rent it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take a motion to approve or disapprove.
Mr. Chairman, what we heard tonight, I'll make a motion to approve as submitted per the drawings as submitted here this evening and what he said, that's on record.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Can I interject something here real quick? If you will, our subreg says that he has to plant 2 trees. If he does not plant what he has stated, I cannot make him. So if you would, by motion, make that as part of the motion, that whatever y'all agree upon as far as the landscaping goes, then that would give me the teeth to support y'all's vote. Otherwise, I cannot make him, nor can I make him pave that driveway.
Understand. So let me do a revision to it. To approve with him, what he stated was that he would put, after the survey, he would put concrete driveway from the road to the beginning of the top of the flag lot. Number one.
Was it concrete or paved?
Well, he said concrete.
Oh, did-
I'm going to go with concrete after survey. Yes, sir. Now,
Say that, and I will do that. I wasn't planning on doing that immediately as far as the driveway.
Sir, with our rules and regulations, you've asked for an application, we've submitted it, now we've listened to both sides, and we are going to give our recommendation. If it gets passed, then you can either do it and move on, or not do it, and it is where it is. I'm making the motion from what you've told us this evening under oath. So I'm going to make the motion that there be a concrete driveway from the road and to the edge of the flag lot, to the edge, and there'll be shrubbery down the one side between the driveway and his neighbours, because that's what he indicated. He will plant no less than 2 trees on the property, and he will put some grass around the edge of the property to beautify it. That's what you indicated. That's my motion, sir. Did you get that?
Second, yes, sir.
And we'll now vote on it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I signify aye also is unanimously approved. Thank you. Okay. Okay, the second item of old business, request for a special exception to allow a distillery property located at 4,000 Center Point Drive. That's a parcel is owned by Ajax Turner Properties. Mr. Logan, may we have your report, please?
Mr. Chairman, this request is for a distillery. I'm sorry, I'm one off. This request is for the, I'm not one off. I don't know why it says 2 in there. Let me get to the distillery. So this distillery has requested to be located at 4,000 Center Point Drive, which is south of I-24. You can see there in the photos. It's on the south side of Laverne, and this is an existing building that has been there for a number of years. And so it is zoned I-2, and in our zoning ordinance, it states that a person may request the use of a brewery as a special exception from the BOZA under I-2. Our ordinance never states the word distillery, so as staff, it was decided that the distillery should follow the same rules as a brewery. The ordinance is very old, and I guess it just never mentioned distillery. So this is the same process that a brewery would have to go through if they requested to locate in Laverne. And you can see here on the zoning map, it's a very large area of I-2, and the particular property is right here. And the only thing that's not zoned I-2 is the apartments here at I-24, which are zoned R3. And they have submitted quite a few materials that I've put in your packet. And they also submitted a plan, reduced size plan that shows the building and what they're intending to do. And in the they listed a description and a little background on the company as well. The building is 497,000 square feet, so it's right at 500,000 square feet. And this applicant would lease 132,300 square feet of the building, and they'd lease it from the owner, and the owner is Ajax Turner for this property. So this distillery would be leasing that space. And again, there's a lot of I-2 in the area, a lot of distribution and a lot of storage. And of course, Ajax Turner has operations there too. And there's a lot of photos that they submitted. They're in your packets. And it's basically just the shell of a large industrial building. You can see here, would be one of the entrances to the building. And there's no signage out there because it's vacant. And then this is just typical dock doors for trucks to load and unload. And that's pretty typical of most buildings in the area. And there's some nice landscaping that's already in place. They do have also photos of some of their equipment that they have planned to have at this location, and they've provided pictures of that equipment. And a lot of it is, of course, very specific to their use. And then they also have a picture of a comparable location, and I think this location may be in Middle Tennessee. I'm not certain if it is or not. I'll let the applicant speak to that. But that pretty much sums it up. Again, they're not here for a site plan submittal, but they're just here because the zoning ordinance demands that if a distillery or brewery or requires that they come to this board and ask for a special exception. So that's the specific request tonight by the applicant. And I think that pretty much covers the report. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Is the applicant here? Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name and address, please, for the record.
Absolutely. My name's Mary Beth Hagan. I'm a local attorney. My home address is 1624 Glenhaven Drive in Murfreesboro.
Thank you.
And I have with me John Lunn. He is the master distiller for this particular operation. So if you have operational questions, Mr. Lunn can address those.
Okay.
So Sazerac, Inc. is a very large corporation. It's the largest in the United States privately held manufacturer of distilled spirits. Sazerac of Tennessee is what Mr. Lunn is the master distiller of. And what they are doing right now is in Newport, Tennessee, in East Tennessee. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Lunn and the other distiller, Elisa Henley, who couldn't be here tonight, they're both from Manchester. And so they are working right now, commuting to Newport, and they want to get back to Middle Tennessee. So that's why they're looking here, and they've selected Rutherford County where they want the home base. What they're doing, they started a couple of years ago, is making a new brand of Tennessee whiskey. So if you know Sazerac, there's a lot of bourbons that you might be familiar with, brands, that sort of thing. This is a subsidiary company, and its focus is to make a Tennessee whiskey, and they've started doing that. in East Tennessee, but they'd like to move the entire operation here. So the last photo that we attached was a photo of their operations in Newport, Tennessee, just so that you could see what they have been doing for the last several years, and that's what they plan to do here in this space. They have a business relationship with Ajax, and so they would be renting this property, just a portion of the warehouse space. And the outside, they have no plans to really change the outside. They don't need more parking. The sign would be in conformity with the regulations for Laverne and what generally was there before. So I don't know if you have any specific operational questions. We did attach photographs of the equipment. There's 2 or 3 pieces of the equipment that they need for their operations that would be placed outside. So I wanted to show you what that equipment looked like, and then also show you that in the Center Point area, in the Center Point Drive, the distribution park, there are other pieces of equipment, and we've been working with their covenants to make sure that we would comply with that.
I did see some trucks back there, some whiskey trucks. Was it kind of, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was an interesting name, New Brand or something. Was it Jack Daniels, something from Jack Daniels or something like that?
That would probably be with Ajax, who is a distributor.
Okay,
And then Sazerac of Tennessee is a manufacturer, so they're going to be
Okay.
making a brand. And it's, that hasn't yet been branded, so they have some of the whiskey in barrels now, but if you know much about the process, it has to age for 5 to 6 years.
and that's what you're going to be doing there?
Yes.
Is aging it, and then you're going to bottle it or whatever you're going to do it, and then Ajax is going to distribute it for you?
I don't know about that last part. That's probably a more complicated.
Yeah, so we haven't picked a distributor yet, since it'll probably be another 4 years before we're ready to sell anything.
Okay.
There's a lot of regulations and rules that go
Oh,
into
yes,
that
I'm
part of
sure.
this.
Okay. Thank you. Board have any questions?
Out of interest, what's the largest diameter container you're going to have there as far as to hold fluid or liquor? What's the largest size?
So our current site, the largest tank we have is about a little over 8,000 gallons.
Okay.
Most of the ones we use daily are 5,000 or less.
So it happened in Napa this week, apparently, dumped a whole bunch of wine. What would happen if one of those containers did puncture? I mean, have you got a contingency plan to handle if one of those did leak, get damaged?
Absolutely. So we'll have proper containment set around the facility, and obviously we do everything we can to prevent that, because we don't want to lose, you put 4 or 5 years of effort into it, you don't want to dump it down the drain at the last minute.
Right.
So we will make, all the arrangements to make sure the risk is very minimal.
We've already had preliminary meetings with the fire marshal and with Mr. Sawyers.
And then we also usually put in some things like where we can go close drains too inside the building, so if something were to spill, we can contain it within the building and not let it get out.
As far as the signage and the beautification, that's all going to remain the same?
Right, there would be a sign, but
Yep. It'd meet the requirements.
yes.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Make a motion, we approve.
I'll second.
Let's take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. It's approved.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you. The next item is a request for variance to locate an accessory structure in a side yard, property located at 1694 Newport Place, parcel owned by James R. Shaw. May we have the report, Mr. Logan?
Thank you. So this item was also here in November, along with the first item that was heard tonight. And this request is for a variance to locate an accessory structure in a side yard. Property is located at 1694 Newport Place, and it is zoned R1, low-density residential. So when they were here in November, they explained what their intention was and how they wanted to build an accessory structure. It's essentially a carport. I think the applicant is a school bus driver, and so there is a school bus that's parked there. a lot of the time. So they're requesting to build the structure in their yard to help protect the bus. So their rear yard, let's see here. You can see fairly well here that a lot of the backyard holds water. I've been told by a few people that it's a sinkhole, and so the rear yard here looks like a large portion of it is not usable. So they've not been able to find a place to build the accessory structure. They've not been able to find a place unless it is in the side yard, so that is the nature of their request for the variance. And in the report, I also put in there that per the zoning ordinance, all accessory structures, including carports and sheds, have to be located in the located 10 feet from all property lines. So they would still need to adhere to that requirement. And there's some photos. This would be the side of the house. And so here in the backyard, you can see this area looks like a deck back there, and I don't know, maybe a swimming pool. And then this is the larger part of the yard that it kind of goes all the way around the corner. The lot goes for a long distance. So this photo with the boat is over here in this corner. And just this general picture of that sinkhole area. And then this would be the front of the house. And the sign that's been there a long time now since the December meeting was canceled. And they did submit, just a few days after their meeting in November, they submitted a diagram that shows basically a carport, and then a second sheet that has just the dimensions there. They're hand-drawn, and that's in your package tonight, and was also emailed to you in December. So I think that covers everything in the report, so be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Would you take the stand, please? Raise your hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
James Shaw, 1694 Newport Place, Laverne, Tennessee.
Okay, you have any comments to make?
Yeah, basically what we're doing is, you can see, that's our driveway right there in this last picture. We're just trying to put a carport coming off the house, and and the poles are gonna come down on my driveway. And the reason why is because that tree right here that you're seeing in this picture, we got brand new 2022 school buses, and they're turning them black. It's turned my boats black. It's turned everything black. And on the pictures where he showed you where my pontoon boats was out there in the field, you cannot build nothing out there because whoever surveyed the land, they said all that over there, that 2 acres, is septic tank runoff. They just shaded the whole thing. They never did it. Because when I actually got somebody to come out and look at it, it don't go all the way to over there. But that's besides the point. But what I'm getting at is you can't build over there. You can't build none over here. Mm-hmm. All that, they said all that's just septic tank runoff. So, and then we ain't got nowhere to put, in the backyard, of course, it goes straight down to that pond. So that's where they said that it makes special requirements you can do stuff like this because of something like that with stream water or standing water, and that pond's got fish in it and everything else. I mean, it's been there for, supposedly it's been a mini lake for years or something. So we're just trying to build, show the dimensions and what it would look like. It's the same color as the house, just come off the house and come down. No poles will be over nothing that's not on my house already. The poles are gonna come down on my driveway. So, and it's just basically a cover to cover the boat, the boat and the buses.
Okay. Any question by board members?
So by your sketch, you're indicating that you're going to be 65 inches from the property line? Is that what I'm reading, it, 65 inches?
Yes.
So that's 5 foot 4 inches, and R1,
But it's still gonna be where my driveway's at. It's just gonna, all it's gonna be is two poles coming down and then coming straight out from my house. It's gonna be a cover. And so the buses can go underneath. It's basically just a carport is all it is, like every other house. Just a lot of have carports.
understand, but the side setback for R1 presently is 15 feet. And so that's the concern, is the 15 feet going down to 5 foot 4 inches. Oh, do you mind just putting the overhead shot again, if you would, please? There's no other areas you can put this
No.
carport?
I've got 2 acres on my house. You go all the way around there, all, my septic tank's right, you see my deck, the white
Yep.
part's deck, that's attached to my house. On the right before that deck, that's where the septic tank is. They've got that septic tank running all the way, that whole field going all the way out to that line, way over there. They say all that is septic tank runoff. So you're not allowed to build anything over there. That's where I initially wanted to build a garage, because it's land being used for nothing. I mean, it's just over there. So then, the backyard goes straight downhill, and it goes straight into that pond. And there's big large rocks, and you can't, and sometimes when it rains real heavy, it'll come all the way up close to that deck, so you can't build, you can't do nothing in the backyard.
So when you said, they said septic runoff, who are you referring to?
The city.
City?
I had to go, I went,
It's the county, it's the field lines for the septic system. It's, when the house was originally built, obviously it was put on septic system, and what he's referring to are the field lines for the septic system. I've not seen the map, but I would assume that where he's describing would be about the only place. Now, there are, when it was developed, there's really no drainage in that area, so there's a great deal of those lots have a hatched area that indicates where, standing water can exist, or basically where the runoff percolates back into the ground. So there's some peculiar lots in Hampton Roads because of that, or Lake Point, all across through there. But what he's referring to are the field lines for the septic system that was mapped out by the county and approved by the county health department back in the day when that house was built.
My concern, Mr. Chairman, just had been the 5 foot 4 inches from the, from the property and against the neighbour.
Mm-hmm.
And the size of the lot, I know it's a difficult lot by looking at and seeing it, is just figuring out where else they could put it.
and originally was gonna, the trees there's 2 trees, and they're kinda on my property and his property, and I had somebody just coming out, and when they come out to survey it, they'll put an X, orange X. Well, as soon as he seen that, I was cutting the grass, he come over there and said, "That's my tree, you're not cutting that down." So he does not want that tree cut down, and it's ruining everything. It's ruining these $120,000 school buses. It's solid black on top, and we hadn't even had it 2 months. It's just, everything falls from this tree, and it's just ruining my nice vehicles. I mean, we got nice stuff, and it's ruining it really bad.
Okay, we'll probably have to discuss this a little bit further. You may be seated.
Thank you.
It's my understanding that there are people that would like to speak on this issue. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this issue? Did you have any phone calls on this, Mr. Logan?
I think it's in the report, none that, one of the calls thought that it was a rezoning. Every time they see these signs, they think it's a rezoning, and so I explained to them it's not. So there was nothing
And once,
pertinent to this case.
and once again, there's no one here that wants to speak on this issue? Okay. All right. Well, I have to admit, I have a little problem with the issue of it being that close to the neighbor's house there. I just, one of the things that we have to look out here is, we have a paragraph in the codes book here. Let me just read it out. It's very short. It says, if I can find it. The granting of any variance shall be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of this ordinance and shall not be injurious to the neighborhood, detrimental to the public welfare, or in conflict with the comprehensive plan for development. It's a very flowery statement, but what they're really saying with, it's got to fit in with the community. And the community is, of course, the neighborhood and the neighbors. That's why I asked several times to make sure if there wasn't anybody here from the neighbors to include your next-door neighbors on it. And the reason I asked so many times is because I was under the impression that someone would be here to speak on that. So that obviously there is not. But that's just, I'm just a board member. That's just my opinion that,
It's not gonna go over my driveway, where my driveway is, it's gonna be there, all it is just cover over my driveway, is all it is. It's not gonna be going over and be built, it's not gonna have sides, it's not gonna be a garage, it's just gonna be a car cover, that's all it's gonna be. It can be moved, it can be easily moved, just unbolt it.
The issue that we have is that the states that we should have no, in the zoning ordinance, all accessory structures such as carports and or sheds shall be located in the rear yard and be at least 10 feet from all property lines.
right.
I'm just, the size of the property, that there has to be other areas where this can go.
It's a huge lot.
It's
I
just,
was out there, I walked a lot. So I know what you're talking about with the pool water back there. I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with, you know, the rocky area in the back and all that. Yeah, well, we have a similar situation in my yard. My backyard, 2/3 is underwater after a monsoon rain. But I don't have that much acreage either. So I was thinking the same thing, that there must be something that can be done.
Eventually, I tried to get codes to approve the build on the side, and they denied it because they said the septic tank runoff. I've already, that's what I originally went to do. And, they denied it because it can't be done.
Was it the city of Laverne that said that?
You can't build over a septic field line, you can't have any type of structure on that field line. It's, when the house is built, soils are tested to determine the number of bedrooms, number of persons taking baths, using showers and restrooms and the likes thereof. Based on the soil conditions, the soil scientists from the county will indicate how wide, how deep, how many linear feet of field lines that you're required to have. In this case, that area to the left of the house is all septic system.
No sewer out there?
Pardon?
There's no sewer out there?
No, I don't think there's ever been, or I don't know if any plan to it anytime soon. And to make matters worse is those lots. Kyle can speak to it if need be, or Adam, any one of them, these engineers around here, that those lots don't have really any drainage to them. The stormwater runoff percolates back into the ground, which makes the field lines even more sensitive due to the fact that they need to percolate the effluent out of the septic system and back into the subsoil, subsurface. So yes, he did. He's asked a number of times for a building out there, and I keep telling him that it's just not doable.
Land is just sitting over there, guys mow, and it's flat land, it's just over there. When I originally moved there, I thought I could build over it. I never thought that all that would be the septic tank runoff, but apparently it is.
It's a,
That's when I was asking this gentleman here, they said it was, when you got the 10-foot rule, or 15-foot rule, there's exceptions when you've got standing water like we do, where we can't build something like that. That's what we got. We've got a lake behind our house. There ain't nothing you can do
Well, it comes down to the point that we're going to have to make a decision here one way or another. I'll take a motion to either approve or disapprove.
Chair, I'll make a motion not to approve the applicant due to the zoning ordinance requiring that the structures such as accessories and carports and sheds should be located in the rear yard and at least 10 feet from the property line.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We shall call for a vote on it. Mr. Graham?
Aye?
No. No.
No.
Yeah.
You voted in favor of the...
I'm voting against him. I'm in favor of putting it out there.
Okay, I see. Well, this is where the rubber makes the pavement here, right? Well, I don't particularly think that it should be put up, but there are extenuating circumstances, and I kind of feel for it. So I'm going to say you can build your shed.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to have to go, you had a motion to deny, and that's been failed, so someone's going to make a motion.
To approve.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could, the vote tally that was underway when you made your comment needs to be completed, and then the floor, you can entertain another motion at that point.
I see, okay. So that motion did fail, so I will make a motion that we will approve the applicant's request.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. We'll take another vote. Mr. Graham?
No.
And I'll vote aye. So it has been then approved. Yes. I think, though, that you try to make amends with your neighbor. Okay, the next item on here is new business, request for sign variance, property located at 265 Mason Road, parcel owned by Park 24 East, Building 6, Limited Liability Corporation. Mr. Logan, may we have the report, please?
Thank you. So this is a signage request for 265 Mason Road, and this is zoned I-2, heavy industrial, and this is in the greater development of Park 24 that some of you all now are familiar with. It's been developing on Mason Road over the last 18 months, probably to almost 2 years. And the particular building, well, let me cover the zoning first. So here's the property. It's I-2 along with a lot of its neighbors. And this building is brand new, and this is the home of Icy. And here's a picture of the building with the American flag out front. So this part that's getting all the sunlight is the north side of the building. And then this is the darker side. Here's the east side. So we're at the northeast corner of this building. And the zoning ordinance, the sign code only allows one wall sign per building and one monument sign or pylon if they choose whichever. But basically, you get one of each. And then on some industrial or on industrial sites, you can choose other smaller signs. But the reason that they need to come to BOZA is they would like two signs that would be, they just say the word Icy. And the rolled up plan is what they've submitted, full size, that shows that. So the north side of the building, it probably looks like it's going to be here where I'm pointing. There would be an Icy sign, and then on this side, which is the east side, there'd be identical signage. So the ordinance limits them to one, but they're asking for two, is the bottom line. And I think that in the full-size plan, it shows a lot of technical details of how the sign is made and specifications for the sign, that sort of thing. And I think that completes the report. Thank you.
Okay, is the applicant here? Representative of the applicant? Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm doing fine, and yourself?
I'm doing well.
Good. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Betsy Shackelford. I work for Premier Sign Company. Do you want that address or do you want my home address?
Your home address.
Home address is 1806 Auburn Drive in Clarksville, Tennessee.
All right, thank you. Any comments you would like to make?
Well, they would like to have a sign over their front door. As I understand it, and I've been to the property and I've done some pictures that maybe I should have put into the application as well, but the front door is over here on the east side, and it faces their parking lot. It faces a large hillock that basically is just facing some other trees. I went out there and looked and walked around. I didn't see anything. I don't know what the future plans are for the land on the other side of that hillock, but at the same time, they would like to have their sign on the front of the building, up above their front door. But at the same time, as you can see, that's actually the entrance. As you drive into the building, you come from that north side. And so therefore, honestly, when I first drove around, I was glad to see some of their flag signs because I couldn't find their building otherwise. So they definitely need a sign on that north side so that you can see when you are driving around and trying to find their building, trying to locate it. But at the same time, they also need a sign up above their front door.
All right. Any questions for the applicant?
Bo, do you mind just putting a shot up of where the road frontage is, or have you got a shot showing that of?
So this is Mason
Okay.
here, and you can see the parcel lines that the property assessor has added. So the new curve is here. In other words, this part of the road's gone now. But the private drive is roughly right there that comes down this way.
This photo was taken almost where the white line is and the private drive begins. Maybe a little bit closer, maybe it was at that first parcel next to it. But you can see that that's where that you're driving in from. So that's why they definitely needed one on this side. And then, of course, they would also need one on the front of their building, but that's a little bit less visible as you were trying to find and locate their building.
So Bo, looking at that orientation, there'd be one coming in from the west side on the building and one from the north side?
Correct. North and west, yeah.
From west, okay.
Yeah, you had labeled north and east, and I was a little surprised by that, but yes, I was
It's
thinking
north and
that-
west, yeah.
North and west.
Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the application submitted.
Seconded?
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. There being no further business, we stand adjourned.